Yeah, let's start with a cheers. Fuck yeah, let's start with a cheers. 2, 1. Cheers. Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Oh yeah. So, welcome to another episode of the OptiMystic Podcast. I am your host, OptiMystic Banks, with my brother here.
Brother Kung Fu Brooks, co-host, the same one, if you will.
And today we have a very special episode in homage to Joe Rogan's podcast episodes, Protect Our Parks, where he gets together with his homies. They chill, they talk about new ideas, and they have a little smoke, have a little drink, a little bit of good masculine energy.
Right.
So to join us in his place, we have my very good friend, spiritual mentor, E.T. homie soul,
Always.
Shawn Sexton.
Pleasure.
Love you, bro.
Love
so
you
happy
guys.
to be here.
Thank you guys.
Just so you guys know, like,
Appreciate you, man. Thank you, man.
just so you guys know, like, I have had my biggest awakenings in this house, in this space here.
Me too.
And when I was really losing my mind, and I had a very good friend who introduced me to Shawn, and Shawn's a Life Path 33. The man who introduced me to him is also a Life Path 33. And Shawn just really helped me put all the pieces back together when I was really losing my mind, thinking I was crazy, synchronicities, just coming to higher levels of awareness, psychic abilities.
Right.
ET encounters, abduction experiences and stuff like that I was going through. So I love you very much.
Brother, it's my pleasure.
And we're just going to get to it and kind of just, you know.
Some of you guys might remember Shawn from the Brooks and Banks podcast that we did previously. Go back and check that out. But we've come a long way since then in our own lives and just us collectively together. And I had a similar experience. It's funny, everybody, before I came here, I heard about you and your friends meeting Shawn and their experiences with him. And you're like, oh, you got to come over and come see him. And I told you I went into it like I was like a Kung Fu student going to like a new master, and just like I was going into it like, just take what sticks and like don't worry about anything else if he's like weird.
Yeah, and that was a really good lesson for me, because I was almost worried in a way to introduce my people to some of my more eclectic friends, because I had my own issues with authenticity, really, right? And so you being like, yeah, whatever, dude. It's like you take what resonates with you and leave the rest, basically. There's no point of like throwing out the baby with the bathwater, or the mystic, the mystic with the bathwater, right?
and like
it just allows you to experience everything so much more fully, from an innocence point of view, right? Like, yes, how beautiful is this? There's and what you taught me, Shawn, from the first time I came here, where I was really freaking out, and I was like, I was scared almost. I was very scared, actually, because you were so in my head. And I said something, and like I kind of cut you off, and I remember thinking to myself, like, what the fuck? Like, why did I do that?
You were saying that you couldn't understand what he was saying anymore.
Well, no, that was a different time. That was a different time. No, but the first time I came here, there was something that happened where I felt my own kind of like, I felt like I was rude, and it just like came out. But I was like, and I said to you, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disagree with you. What I was trying to say is da 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 da. And you said to me, and this was so important, you said, all that matters, brother, is that you can be yourself.
Yeah, always.
And it just like,
yeah, man.
Well, let's get into it for those who don't know. Who the fuck are you?
Oh, that's a pretty great question.
Let's start there.
I am a spirit being, is what I truly am. I'm animating this human body. I've chosen to come here to express the mission. The mission is remembrance of the truth, the old truth, the real truth, the deep truth within your heart that you'll all know and can identify with at the earliest point in your existence. It's a parallel. We as beings chose these lives to come together in this world right now. This, yes. Yeah, and the who I really am here is I'm a teacher, and I'm a lover and an appreciator of all life. So I'm not really anything per se. I'm more of an observer and an appreciator, and more of an audience member than anything. To be truly honest.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now this might be kind of hard to break down into like one statement, but when do you feel that you really shifted into something it shifted into this more present version of you now, which have you always been this way since like you were conscious?
Fucking awesome question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty good answer too after I summed it up in my mind. So I've had a long journey.
Yeah.
My whole life I've been on this journey from youth on. I've always had, how can I say, extra attention given to me by nature, by the universe, by my higher self, so that I could come to these points of perspective. These points of perspective are so necessary for your evolution. It's kind of like the foundations, and my whole life has been like building my foundation of consciousness, being able to rely on who I know myself to be, and who I know myself to be is a lover and an appreciator of life itself. And that's really what I've built my whole platform off, is just love.
And it's taken you a lot of places. I mean, you've moved around a lot, right? Like,
Especially as a DJ. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable talking anything about your stepdad and then your decision not to go in his footsteps?
Oh man, sure. Wow, you brought up some deep
Yeah.
stuff.
Let's start with a background just like of that. Like where you come from and like how you were like what was your physical 3D life like where you came from?
I'm gonna get deep for you guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take some stuff on me. So, I was in college and I was dead set on becoming an attorney. I wanted to basically become a member of one of the intelligence agencies.
Like the FBI or
My
the
stepfather.
CIA?
My stepfather was in the CIA.
Okay.
And he went to a certain law school which pushes into the CIA organization, and I had my path set to go to that school. My senior year in college, I kind of like had this epiphany when I was learning to DJ that art was more important than anything else that I wanted to accomplish in my creating. I thought it was art, but it was really creating my life.
Yeah, it's
you know?
the
and I didn't
value
understand
of
it
that.
at the time.
So interesting.
I quit college and started creating my life as a creator, as a DJ. And what I've done since then is I've built a whole life around creating my life. I didn't know I was doing this.
Yeah, no.
My higher self led me down the road.
Yeah.
I realize a lot about myself right now, actually.
Really, I had no idea the trip I was on. I just knew I was on something that meant something, because every experience began to pile up meaning. And when you get a lot of meaning in your heart, that just really amplifies the love that you have for everything that you're doing. And when you've got that, man, you've got a form of motivation that doesn't quit. So what I've done is I've really just persevered through all the conspiracies, all the bullshit, all the lies. I've done the research to truly understand what's happening here, what's going on for my own personal self. And what I try to do is just relate that which is happening and help people understand that it's all about the love. Every single situation that's occurring, even the most pertinent evil, believe it or not, stems from love.
Yes, it does.
Makes a lot of sense about you now. So I'm putting that all together, like mix that with your love for DJing and music and creating, and like I see how you ended up here.
And you grew up with like a grandmother and a mother who showed you a lot of love.
100%. My grandmother,
And-
crucial.
And then, you know, when it came time for you to really make that decision of going to maybe one of these 3-letter agencies, your stepfather did kind of maybe drop a bomb on you.
Oh man, he broke the whole system down. He
Told you how it really works.
It was my mom, really.
Okay.
It was my mom. My mom understood who I was, and because I'm really her.
Yeah, of
and
course.
so she understood who I was, and she convinced my stepfather, because she knew the truth of what actually happened in his career, the things that he ended up doing, because
Sure.
he would talk to her about those things, because you need some kind of
Yeah,
therapist
of
for that kind of
course,
stuff.
yeah.
So she ended up convincing him, because I was on his path, that he needed to educate me where I was going. So my stepfather got inebriated one night. I came home from hanging out with some friends. He said, "Come down here, I want to have a conversation with you." And I was like, "Whoa, wow, Dave's serious. He's on alcohol right now. The guy hasn't drank in 17 years, and he's drinking tonight. This is serious." So I sat down with Dave, and what Dave told me basically unraveled the vision that I have of our country, our systems. He basically broke down the systems and told me how awful they really are, the lies, the
nothing's what it
contradictions.
seems.
Nothing's what it seems.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily classified information either. It was
Oh
more-
no, this is stuff that you can, if you go out and look for it, it's there. And I spent a lot of time trying to prove him wrong, and I proved him right, and that's why I'm here today. Literally, because I proved him right. After proving someone right while trying to prove them wrong, you're at a point of, I can't deny this anymore. I have to follow this.
Now, here's something interesting too, is that I just recently found out about his stepfather and the connection to the CIA. And we'll get into this more, but we've talked a lot about how, you're a walk-in ET soul, essentially.
Yep.
And so a lot of people that have these ET soul connections often have a handler in a 3-letter agency. And when I brought that up to you, and you were like, oh, I never even thought about that.
Never even thought about it.
That to me was like,
wow.
That was the first, I was like, bro, I can't believe, have you ever thought about how he may have been your handler? Because again, so many of these super soldiers, ET souls, hybrids, people that are in the same resonance, right? They need a certain kind of handler, a connection to one of these government agencies.
So are you suggesting that his dad was Shawn's handler? Or
Yes.
Yes. Shawn's stepdad
was
maybe.
If you look at the way that my mother and him met,
Holy crap.
and the situation behind that, and the way that everything occurred, and the influence that he had on my life, this theory is really strong.
Yeah.
Because of the way that man steered my life. I believe that he regretted the decisions that he made and helped me not make those decisions and follow his path, so that I didn't feel like him. He basically told me that our systems were corrupt, and that if I kept going down this path, that I was going to become just like him, a professional liar, maybe a killer, maybe all kinds of other things that I really wasn't as a person. And I was in great form of denial because I understood the justice system, I thought at that time, and I thought we had a real justice system here. We don't. And once I began to investigate this and understand this to be true, I literally went back to him and thanked him multiple times for enlightening me to the truth and pretty much saving my soul,
Man.
From an alternative timeline that I could have went down, and probably a version of me is down there,
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I
So-
just avoided that. I avoided that.
I know that there's a lot of specific kind of new downloads that you've been getting that you want to get into.
Yeah.
So let's just kind of like quickly go through just like what I understand about you and what I find so amazing about you and extremely unique. Is that you definitely have a connection to ETs, unlike any other person that I've personally met. Where anywhere we go,
They're always there.
they're always there. We could be in the middle of Hollywood Boulevard.
There they are.
Or we could be out in the middle of wilderness.
We can see them.
And we can see them. We can call them in. And
I've seen a video.
yeah, and I will say that since meeting you, I have had more experiences, abduction type dream experiences and things like that. And you just helped me become really okay with it all. Really accepting and loving of it all. And like I was, I've always been into aliens, obviously. Like I've grown up watching Ancient Aliens. By the time I was 18, I knew aliens were real. I knew 9/11 was an inside job, kind of packed that away. It wasn't very spiritual.
Yeah.
But that reference point for me, that having that when I awakened to the truth of the oneness of everything, the oneness of consciousness, it was like, okay, this does make a lot of sense, and you helped me make it make a lot more sense from a loving perspective, which is amazing.
Yeah, just to give an example, like I've come to Shawn before with like problems I've had or dreams that I've had where I'm kind of trying to decipher like what does this mean, and he always hits you with some profound thing that's something that almost doesn't make sense with physics, but it's something that to be very true.
Perfectly said.
Yeah.
It's the way you marry the esoteric to the scientific.
That was so perfectly said. It's an inner, you hit us, there's nothing from the outside. You're hitting us from the inside.
100%. I'm trying to get you to see it from the inside.
And it's always positive, and it's always something like because you chose it, because your higher self.
It's an example of empathy. When you truly have empathy in your heart, there's a part of this that's always interconnected, and you're actually tuning into that. I leave myself open to that. I don't cut myself off from that.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things where you're going to take on some stuff you don't want sometimes. When you're not thinking about it, you're just going to absorb information from people. Like when I go to restaurants and things like that, I'll start absorbing people's information and just say it. It's one of those things where you got to kind of be guarded about it.
You're a black hole,
always
bro.
on.
You're a black hole. I mean, you suck it in.
Hey, here's one that we can do for our viewers right now. This is a real thing that I was just thinking of right now. Okay. I'm very empathic. So empathic that it's to my detriment a lot of times. I will feel people's pain so hard sometimes that it will hurt, like...
That's an ability. That's not a disability. That is an ability.
And I feel like I know that it's very untrained. Like it's like an X-Men ability that's untrained. And I'm coming to accepting that. Like, okay, I know I'm empathic, and I know that it's untrained now, and that's why. What do you have for me there?
Just keep going.
Okay.
Because it gets better. With empathy, you've got to open yourself up to it, which you were already naturally there.
I think I think I do fight it though.
It's okay because you're meant to deal with it some way.
The mind
don't
is
look at it as a fight.
Yeah, the mind is trying to make sense.
Acclimation to the amount of information you're being exposed to. That's really what it is. And what it is you're slowly training yourself to take all of these vibrations that are in your environment, cultivate them through your mind, and break them down and understand what they really mean and are saying.
But it has to start with the feeling and the intuition. Though.
Yeah,
So that's the thing, is that your mind...
You got that.
Your mind's trying to make sense of it when it's more of a feeling at first, and your mind almost goes, no.
Yes.
Yeah.
That can't be.
Yeah,
that's exactly
your
what
mind.
it
You have to let your mind totally open and let it flow through, and then start. It's
Exactly.
like, let's just assume that you are empathic and it is an energy.
Yeah.
Now let's go from there. It's almost like the different versions of like aliens aren't real, so we're not going to even conceptualize of what it could be. Versus let's assume they are real. Then what could it be?
Right.
So you got to be open.
Now let me ask you this, speaking of that, and the aliens and all that stuff, right? You talk a lot about the ET stuff. Something that you always talk about, again, going back just positivity, and you chose this, you talk a lot about, like, we have each manifested, like, our own lives. We've chosen to be here in this time and place. Like, we chose our parents to make us in this physical form. Expand on that a little bit.
So it's the nature of holographics.
Okay.
If you could imagine this place is for us higher spirit beings from the higher realms, this is a sim game. We are playing sim here. Right. This is the real truth. If you really understand what's actually happening, not what's really going on.
Because we've awakened.
That's the narrative
Yeah.
of the third dimensional platform moving into finite.
Yes. And those that are in the third dimensional platform that are fully immersed in it don't necessarily feel like it's a simulation the way that we do. Because we're at a higher level of perspective.
They've engaged themselves to believe that the reality is what they're being told.
It's happening to them, not from them.
Yeah, and then they're reprojecting that as their own choice of reality to experience. So it's part and parcel.
Yeah. And it's a tough subject because there's always people that are going to say, well, what about people who are living like this? What do you have to say?
Well, those are NPCs.
Or what about people that are, more specifically, suffering?
Suffering. Okay, now I'm glad you brought that up because it's a big thing that I've been dealing with lately. I've been kind of going through some suffering myself and trying to understand it at this level of consciousness, why I would choose to experience the level of suffering that I have applied to myself. And I'm really so happy you brought that up because I've come to the conclusion and the understanding of why I have subjected myself to such suffering. You see, in a truly enlightened state that we all are coming from in a higher state of consciousness, we don't experience suffering. This whole illusionary existence was designed so you can experience the illusions of the higher self, which is suffering, pain, death, all those little things that we go through here that we coin ourselves as being human experiences. We call them as human experiences because we cannot go through these experiences in the realms that we're out. So we use this, believe it or not, as a form of evolution, a form of entertainment, because the whole point of being here is to forget that truth and we remember it through experiences.
All the ancient mythological stories, like Chinese mythology, all of them, that all talks about how the gods want to experience some human shit.
That's right.
Or put a piece of them in a human, or become a human.
We've talked about it before that, like, you know,
holy crap,
we really truly have free will here in this realm.
Yes.
Where the other realms, they kind of have specific jobs.
Yes.
And so they don't have the free will that we have. And also it's less material. It's more it's more fluid, more airy.
Yeah,
it's less dense. Yeah, it's less dense, right? So the feeling, you can't feel as much. But again, with the sensation of, ooh, lovely, sensual feeling, but deeper is that pain, is that suffering. And so it's all part of that yin and yang, but that's why this realm is a really cool place to simulate and put your consciousness
That's
in.
it. That's really the goal.
Reward of the perseverance.
The hero's journey, yes, the comeback story, yeah.
No, you came here to go on that.
Yeah.
You came here to go through that evolution. Believe it or not, here's the real reason you're here. The real reason you're here is to gain a greater level of appreciation and meaning for love itself.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate truth. That's why you gave up your autonomy as a God to come here and subtract yourself away from that, to go through experiences that took that away from you, which is called suffering, and to get it back through the experiences that you chose through free will. And that is the journey.
Yes. Yes, the illusion of separation from source was so painful for the consciousness.
From true love.
Yeah.
When you come down here and experience the level of love that's here and then go back to that, that's what it's about.
Because you realize you never left. But you have to forget it and go, no, it's like the losing, being in last place of a baseball team and then having the huge comeback and oh my God. But imagine at the end of that, you don't just win the World Series. At the end of it, you realize you're God.
100%.
You know, it's
100%.
like, and it's just, there's so many infinite ways to go about that journey. And it must be done in infinite ways for the totality of the perspectives. It wants to
100%.
experience it in infinite ways. We're all spirits or harbingers of the different ideas of source and the different ways it could be.
That's right.
Talk about the infinite ways of like talk about Murphy's law and if okay, something that you guys always talk about is it's
playing out the infinite. Yes. So it's playing out the infinite
Sets of possibilities.
sets of possibilities. And then once something gets played out, it actually doesn't happen again exactly the same.
It's already played out.
It's already.
You're just choosing which path you want to play it out for yourself.
And it's slightly different every time.
Is already laid out for you.
But it's
Every
infinite.
single
But it's infinite.
opportunity. And it is
so
infinite.
literally like a song that like remember when we were growing up and be like, oh, that song's played out. Remember like when we like popular song. It's popular, it's new, it's different. It gets played, and then literally we would use the slang. It's played out.
Yeah.
And then we would get over it.
It's like a burning. So like what you're saying, we're talking about like it's almost like a burning off of karma in a way, where it's like we talk about the suffering or the bad things or all these kind of things. It's like, why did World War II have to happen? Almost for number one, so we could have a reference point of like, okay, we're never gonna do that shit again. But also, you realize how much fucking karma was burned through, how much experience of like that deep darkness was experienced through that now it doesn't have to do again on this timeline and this plane of existence.
Dude, it totally
Lessons learned.
seemed like a time that like you had people that were like, fuck it, let's see what we can do to get away with it. You had people that were like, fuck it, what am I supposed to do? I'm just gonna like capitalize off of it. You had people that were like, fuck this, we're gonna hide. You had people that like, fuck this, we're gonna fight. You had people that were like, it was like everything played out, man. Like
The further away you fall from source, right, which is your truth, the further away you fall from that, the more material everything becomes, the less you can remember that you're actually not this body. And then so when everything's super material, you fucking rely on lower chakra survival stuff. I'm gonna get mines. Because if I don't, I'm never gonna get it. Not realizing that you're an infinite being.
That's the trap.
Yes.
That's literally the soul trap. That's
Yes.
what they have convinced everyone to forget here. And that's why the world is the way it is, because they've forgotten what you just said. They've forgotten that basic foundation of truth about themselves, about their infinite selves, about their God selves. And they've forgotten it. And now they are playing out a reality and creating and sustaining a reality where that is an illusion to them.
And that's why meditation is so important,
And it's a
because
truth.
when you get distracted by the TV, by the music, by all the different distractions of everything in the world, the news, the chaos, when you get distracted when you get distracted by that, it puts you in that lower vibration. And then when we meditate and we take some time just to be, and then we remember in that meditation, you literally imagine yourself, oh yeah, I'm bigger than this. And you feel your field just expand and expand and expand and expand and expand, and you're like, oh yeah. There is no solution because there is no problem.
you know, it's funny how
Because I'm not just little old me.
it's funny how like any religious groups besides like crazy fanatics, but like most of the peaceful like religious groups and stuff who are very calm and serene, you never really see them getting worked up to like, we gotta stop this death and suffering and chaos that's going on. It's like when they come to do a demonstration or something like that, it's like, we're here to be chill.
Yeah.
Well,
We're bigger than this. We're better than this. We're part of this, and we accept it, and we understand it, and we're
Well, and they're doing work that is beyond our understanding. Like people that are real meditators, that are really meditating on the love of the world, are creating peace in ways that we can't even possibly imagine.
it's totally subconscious, that work they're doing, and that affects everyone in the resonance.
Everyone.
And that's what I want to spread more, you guys.
You are.
Like
Yeah.
that's
Doing what you're
my
doing now.
that's my thing, dude. And like I went from like being like, holy shit, this kung fu stuff and like tai chi and like all this, I need to change everyone's mind with this. Like this is incredible, real. It's not magic. It's like it's real. Then I went.
Nothing's real.
Then I went to being like, I gotta like help other people who can't like defend themselves, or like they need to have the benefits of this and everything like that. And that's slowly amalgamated into a mixture of everything that I'm into.
You're a true monk,
following
bro.
it's less about the martial arts physical side now, which is still an entry point for so many people that
Of course,
and they need it
because they're in that physical realm. So that's how they need to have the entry
I
point.
needed it first,
Yeah.
but now I'm really more about changing the collect. I'm about changing the collective consciousness on.
You see it though.
I
That
see
now
it
you've
now,
got
man.
the
It's-
mind, the body, and the soul because we're doing more creative stuff. And again, it's that. Man, when you're playing that dance of trying to become balanced, which again, you can never become fully balanced because that's stagnation. So when you're eloquently playing that dance, you got to teach it to the world, man. That's how we all find the peace within. We can't find it out there. Just like you can't find God out there. Just like they can't find source in science. They can't find the end of anything out there because it's not out there. It's in here. God is in here. Love is in here. The universe is in here.
And it's not saying to forsake anything. It's not saying to
No.
give up anything. It's just
saying it has to be
balance it, implement it,
It has to be cultivated within. Now, with that being said, we're going to make a little bit of a transition, and we're going to talk to Shawn about some newer stuff that you've been getting into some downloads.
Yeah.
Let's explore it a little bit. Should we light up another?
You can fire up
another
anything
cigarette.
You get in there, smoke all those cigarettes you want, man. Please.
blend. Special West Hollywood, Southern California.
That's right.
Special
That's right.
blend,
Smoke
totally
it
legal.
up. No, I have
totally legal.
How can I say? I've been under the influence of the illusion in ways that I didn't know, and this whole consciousness evolutionary process is an unraveling of that. So at the highest point where I'm at right now, I've had to kind of reconvene my perspective on certain very, very, very important issues in order to kind of institutionalize my timeline choice. Where you choose to be is where you are, whether you choose to be there or not.
We were just talking about this.
See, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about.
And
doesn't make sense, but it's profound.
if you get it, if you're
hits
in
hard.
on it, you'll get it.
Because it's responding to your energy, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And the energy is the only thing that's true.
And I tell you, I've had to, and I've argued with myself, and this just happened to me in the past 48 hours, this new point of perspective. And I'm really glad I'm getting to talk with you guys a little bit about it tonight and kind of solidify some of these points of perspective. Oh no, I'm very vulnerable right now. I'm still figuring it out for myself. But after the downloads and the messages and the affirmations that I've received, once I got the downloads, I went out to verify and validate, and all the validations that came in after that were synchronicities. And you know, when you go to validate and every single thing that you validate through is a synchronicity, then you begin to understand that it's really meant for you to see it as you're seeing it. And so
It's one of those things that almost can't externally be proven, which is why you know it's true.
It's the point. It's why you get to choose where you end up being, because it hasn't been proven until you prove that you want to experience it.
That's it.
By making that choice.
Ooh, that's when you know you're on the right path, when you don't know what's in front of you, because no one else has been there.
That's what you paid for coming here.
Yeah.
You paid for that experience. You paid for that. That's a gift that you're giving yourself from the other side. It's a level of adventure that the soul seeks in these lifetimes.
That's why whenever I imagine my higher self, he's always smiling and winking.
Always. It's funny.
He's like, this is full.
to have fun.
Yes.
And that's ultimately what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Because this is all an illusion.
Yes, it is.
And we can take it seriously and get right with it and learn everything.
We can do it.
I got to speak on what he's saying.
Yeah.
I literally was walking on the way here from my car, right? And I saw there's a building that's like converted to like an elderly home,
Okay,
like
yeah.
right here. But
Yeah.
it's like a small and there's like a sign outside. And I was thinking opportunistically, like, oh, for my day job, I should like try to market to them. And then as I walked by the gate, there was an ad for another company on there, and it said Brooks on it. But check this out. But you know what it was? You know what I took it as? I was like, nah, fuck that. I gotta focus on myself. That's what that shit told me. So fuck that opportunistic shit.
I think what my
that
thing
shit
is-
was like,
it's
it's
what
like,
you want it to
nah,
be, man.
it's about you, homie. It's
It's what
about
you want it to
I
be.
think it was telling you you've already been here, done that.
Oh, damn.
Been here, done that, bro. You don't
It's
need
saying
to.
it's yours if you want it.
Whatever you want.
100%.
It's just you smiling back at you.
100%.
Sorry.
So no, but I mean,
No,
like,
I'm
you know,
sorry.
look, disclaimer. Let's say this, right? That at the highest level, we are all one.
100%.
That's like the only, let's say, ultimate
We'll
objective.
say we're all connected.
Okay, we're all connected.
And that's the real truth. We're all connected, but we're all individuated, so the points of view
Right.
can be, how can I say, the points of view can be viewed by the one.
Yes, because there's infinite paths to the one.
That's the value of us.
Yes.
That's our value to the one.
But
Is our point of view.
And how we find our path is literally by creating it.
Yeah, from your heart.
From your heart,
100%.
based on, if we're looking at it through the fractal nature, has to be based on what already exists, some type of foundation of what already exists, then you build on it slightly different,
100%.
right? With that being said,
So this is hard to talk about. It really is. 'Cause this is
It's hard to put in English words.
it's wow. Okay.
It's hard for you to like.
So let me start with, I was a big believer in the round earth theory. I was a big believer in the modern mainstream perspective on our universe. Because I had been indoctrinated into this world. I've been taught, I've gone through school, I've learned all these sciences and all these things in history about the world. I was taught to see it this way. And I have believed it to be that way up until 2 days ago.
wow.
Because you were always telling me
Yes.
that you were against the flat
I am
earthers. Tell us why real quick why you're against the flat earthers
The
first.
reason I was against it is because what I had learned and what I had viewed in my astral body and other places didn't match up to what they were saying.
But you also talked about
But
how
here's
like you
the
just
reason.
felt
It's a
it was
two-dimensional
it
way
was
of
just
thinking.
a negative.
Well, no, it's not negative.
It could be an unhealthy obsession.
And
That's what I took
the way that I viewed it then, that's how I saw it, because it's a perspective that is demeaning. I saw it as a perspective that was demeaning to the truth.
Right, like bring us to
It
a
was
lower
bringing-
vibrational
100%,
understanding of
Because
something.
it made sense that you could create an illusion in a 2D scale, and all these illusions could be done there. And I was like, you could create a 3D orchestration in a situation like that. And I was like, wow, that made sense that you could create an illusion and create an alternate timeline, and everybody starts believing that, and they just got
Yes,
there you go.
for sure, yeah.
But here's what really happened. I'm blown away by this, so I'm just going to try to say it the best way I can without
out.
saying it too crazily.
No, do it.
So the war in heaven happened, and it happened here. It was the first thing that happened here after the paradise became what it was. The war in heaven happened. When the war in heaven happened, the war happened, and some beings went home and some stayed.
Okay.
The ones that stayed decided to create the matrix, and because they wanted to stay a lot longer, and they needed other people to be able to do that. So
As vessels for their energy.
to project their timeline.
Yeah.
They weren't powerful enough to do it
shit.
themselves.
That makes a lot of sense.
They needed to train human beings to see and project the universe
What
as
their-
they saw it.
as they saw
to
it.
create the reality that they wanted to live in.
Yep.
So what happened was, flat Earth was the original truth. If you look back at all the ancient cultures,
Yes.
every single ancient culture records it as flat.
All the religions,
I've
all the
seen
old
it
texts.
all. I've
Yeah,
seen the
yeah,
evidence
for
of
sure,
it.
for
I don't
sure.
care what anybody
I agree.
says.
They might
I've
even
seen it.
say that it's layers.
And
but
I thought that
it
they
is-
were just confused because
Yeah.
of their inability to not have technology. No, they were right.
It's-
They were
yeah.
right. And I tell you what, here's the reason I know it to be true. Because what have I been believing my whole life? The lie. And I finally, when I got
Nothing is
this
what it seems.
download, and then I had it affirmed through all the synchronicities and all the other observations that validated what I was trying to come to the conclusion of, that's when I know that I was really on to something and that I was about to change the paradigm of my existence with this information. Because to change your mind about something so significant as flat Earth versus not is very significant change. I truly believe we are on a flat plane outside of this reality, dude. Here's the other thing too. I've astral projected.
What are its boundaries to you?
I've astral projected and went around the world and seen it as round. Do you know why I've seen it as round? Because you can still project an illusion in the fourth dimension.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see, I didn't know that.
I
didn't know that. I was still project. Other people who astral project, who see the round Earth, they're projecting the illusion because that's all they know, and they're going to see it as such.
I could believe it's even easier in the fourth dimension
It is.
to be
somewhat to believe your illusion you're projecting. That's what you dream.
Because you're becoming more and more powerful with your projection. It's just that you can still be
things are
brainwashed.
more malleable. And
So when you've seen it from the 4D and you've seen Earth round, to be able to change your mind about that is a very profound thing in my life. I'm just so grateful for the truth to be conveyed to me.
But I'm sure it's much deeper than just that.
Oh no, there's a lot of information there. Well, I'm not going to try to unpack that right now. Because there's a lot of questions I'm sure everybody wants to ask.
Yeah.
I'm prepared to answer those questions.
My biggest thing is this, and this is what my brother has said, that it's my biggest takeaway. I like to keep in mind just not being mystical on my end for a lot of things, and how I like to argue it in my head and relay the message to other people.
You're trying to be neutral so you can assess the perspective.
If we're just speaking science, different people, different creatures perceive through their eyeballs totally different. Let's just start there.
100%.
Second of all,
and that's
light.
That's assuming that our eyeballs are actually sucking in instead of pushing out, which is what's actually happening.
Okay, okay.
We ain't taking in light, homie. We're putting it out.
Let's keep it with the mainstream science.
Okay, my bad.
So mainstream science
science.
accepts that. Mainstream science accepts light, does all sorts of fucked up shit. I haven't watched a documentary.
We're seeing through a lens too that tricks us all the time.
Well, here's what I was gonna say. I haven't watched a documentary where they're trying to say that most, it was a perspective that they're trying to say that a lot of these UFOs that fuck with their instruments and all sorts of crazy shit that the military has recorded and stuff like that, they're trying to say now that they think that it has to do with ion rays of light, that when it breaks through our atmosphere, it can fuck with how we see things and view things and instruments. Okay, so there's that. Then there's space and light again, and I'm really coming around to thinking what my brother said, that we don't think it can really even be viewed objectively, or the way that they're telling us it can be viewed.
There is no, let's just keep it real, there's no picture of the full Earth. If there is one, it's what they call a composite.
It's a composite.
So they take
NASA will always tell you.
So it's like a bunch of them. Okay,
I'm telling you.
And again, even if if the sun is shining on the Earth, you wouldn't be able to see a round ball. You'd only be able to see kind of like a concaved, which is why they have to make a composite thing. So we've never, again, they haven't shown us what it looks like, which is very interesting, which is playing into this whole thing of timelines. and I've often thought about how I kind of feel like we're in a closed system here. Like, that we can get outside of Earth and maybe we can even get to our solar system.
That's right.
But beyond that, we don't, it's kind of like a closed system, I feel like, because
you're tuning into it.
It's everything's inside. And I think that the Earth might be kind of a frequential torus field type of thing, and that there's much more going on the inside than we realize.
100%.
And maybe we're even inside. It's just but everything in the mysticism, it always says there's nothing outside of you, and that's what it appears to be.
Well, there's nothing outside of you except what you were projecting, and that was what was inside of you.
Exactly. And so, and I guess science and technology is a physical manifestation of our awareness of outside of us, right?
But it's a medium.
It's a reflection, but again, it's like the more you get into the mysticism stuff, you're like, oh, Earth is the body, and outer space is the mind. And it's like infinite ideas, but not all of them are good.
That's what I was just thinking right now.
Not all of them are good, but then if you focus in, you get one really good.
Here's what I was going to say. How do you explain physically where your ideas come from?
Well, you see,
it's a tube in your brain that comes.
No, they don't.
Here, I'm telling you
that's what I'm saying. Like it's like space.
That's a really good idea.
It's a stream of consciousness. Yeah,
it's held in your brain, in your head, physically here, but
it's an
you
antenna.
attract your thoughts.
Yes.
You attract your thoughts
based on your intention.
that you're resonating on.
Yeah.
That's you attract your thought. Every thought is already in the field. You see, as a human being,
Everyone.
no, as a human being,
Everyone.
your body is kind of like the computer, and the field is more like the internet. Imagine it like that. Imagine your body as the computer, and the field, the internet, is the entire reality around you. All right? That's
so
really,
it's like every thought almost that we've ever thought is probably on the internet in some
everything that you ever thought was already given to you.
Yes.
As a possibility of thinking based on the energetic principles that you're engaging in your perspective.
The thought of an infinite universe has always been a conundrum to me, and that's where I start to get uncomfortable and like my brain shuts off.
Yeah.
But I accept it much more now, thinking about how I can accept that thoughts are limitless in this space in my head that's finite.
In your human conception, that's absolutely true. In your higher self, you already know everything. You are everything.
Right, and in my human, I'm totally talking 3D human conceptions, like
there's
science.
nothing wrong with that. That's
like,
what you're here to experience.
Exactly. You are a peephole.
Yes.
I always say
You're a POV.
people are
point of
peepholes.
view.
Yes. You're
100%.
And it must be unique. It has to be.
That's the whole point of it.
And
Yeah.
it's what's infinite, when you realize that it's infinite within infinite, is that as you are the experiencer of something greater than you, you're also the one that's projecting it.
Yeah, we are.
It's so infinite that it's infinite in all ways. People don't understand. When you accept it that it's infinite in all ways, that's a really good acceptance. But I was just telling him earlier this. I was like, bro, when it's infinite, okay, when you have synchronicities that show you, okay, I'm creating this reality.
Yeah.
Your mind goes, it must be more complicated than that.
Oh, it has to. Yeah.
It's got to be because there's infinite universe. It's like
that's
maybe
a societal program that you're given here on this planet.
the simplest answer is
to
I'm
get you to
creating
question the truth of yourself.
Here's something I wanted.
It's the yin and yang. It's the resistance.
Yeah, that's a program.
Yeah.
It's a program.
We'll wrap it up here soon, but here's something I wanted to ask you about and talk about, because you and I were talking about this earlier, Banks. Just the subject and the concept of fear.
Fear is the greatest, how can I say, the greatest thing that you have to overcome. Fear is like, it's like one of these things, without fear, man, you can't appreciate anything. It's something that we put in the field here to orient responses that create more meaning in life.
That's literally, that's
what fear is.
I was saying, I was
creates
like,
meaning.
I was like, think about it like this. Fear makes us more valuable than a robot.
Yeah.
In so many ways.
Don't fear anything.
They don't fear anything.
They don't know the emotion, the energy in motion. They can't even access that POV without an encoded response.
Yeah. And
mechanism.
So I mean, maybe we'd be able to program them with some type of fear, but it's
you
more.
You can program this, but they're not gonna. They're not going to recognize it the same way.
Exactly.
I don't think you can program them with fear. You can program them to be aware of things that we are. Yeah. Because like if you see an object, stop, so it doesn't hit it because we're afraid. But
for them, it's just
if you didn't tell it that, it would just be like fuck you.
Yeah. And like, it's like intel for them.
Yeah, because fear is always either in the future or in the past. No, it's always in the future. Actually, it might be based on the past, but it's always. What if, and your mind is making up the worst possible case scenario. That's what actually creates the fear.
That's why mind control and
that's why I'm not really too afraid of AI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
don't be afraid of AI.
I'm
the
not
timeline
really
that we're
because
on, this whole, believe it or not, this entire construct is AI.
Yeah, that's why.
And that's the nature of holographics.
Well, not only that, but
nature is a form
I feel like it's just
of organic intelligence is the best way.
Isn't it crazy?
I feel like it's only humans that can experience these deep fears and angers and these.
You were designed. This body was designed.
And I don't
the spectrum.
Yeah, and I think we can
other
program
beings can
AI,
experience
right. And I think we can
dark.
program AI to do stuff based on us. But so what? It's already existed because it's us.
Well, we're from the future of the existences of ourselves. Like the future of yourself is your higher self. Mm-hmm. What else are you doing but evolving? So you're already evolved. You're just experiencing what you want to experience after evolving.
Yeah. Damn. And that's why it feels, I mean, for me, like, my enlightenment was, it was like perfectly timed and it was rapid and vigorous.
Oh, that's good.
And so I just can tell that, like, I have this feeling in me that, like, I've done this many times and I've become enlightened many times, and that's just the beginning.
Yeah, same here.
And now
That's the point of the soul.
And now's the fun part.
Yeah, that's the point of the soul. You were
Imagining the best possible version of myself and existence, right?
That's literally what you subtract yourself away from when you come to this world, or a world like this, and you choose situations and scenarios to remember that and appreciate and value that, because on the other side, when you get back to infinite love, you just compare all this to that, and then there's your joy. There's the appreciation of life that you have. That's why you come here.
That's very profound what you said about the infinite love thing, because that, on my near-death experience or on psychedelics, you get to that place of pure infinite love,
it's the best.
and you're like, oh my God, I get it. Nothing else matters.
Right.
Like,
Okay, so it's
but that reference point, then the coming back in the body and being like, oh, that's why.
Okay, so it's funny that you said that.
That's a lot of meaning.
Yeah.
So it's funny you said that, because when you were talking about you feel like you've had a lot of past lives and enlightenment, and it's like, so what? Kind of like that's not enough. Almost like it's just like a basic step. So a lot of the Chinese mystics stuff that I'm into, because like through Kung Fu and through these temples and like masters and like monks and all this stuff, it was always like a common theme of like the old master was always kind of like, oh, you're like enlightened, like
Whoop-de-doo.
welcome,
Yeah.
like now you're not like a commoner idiot, like, okay, whoop-de-doo. And then like when it came to like the martial arts stuff, it's like the old crazy master was always kind of like over it.
Yeah.
And he was always just about like more like the peace and love and the chilling, and like
it was
always
more
like
about being
like
it
you need to
than
not
talking about
don't
it.
go seek retribution, don't go fucking revenge.
Well, yeah, and as
don't,
you
like,
know,
the
just like with
peace and
everything
love.
else, like you start learning that the masculine energy, the toxic masculine energy, the forceful energy, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, whatever, is not sustainable.
Right.
But the feminine, which is the receiving aspect of it, as you get older in Kung Fu and martial arts, you stop doing the hard stuff and you become more, I'm going to use yours against you. And you do
finesse.
that with your mind, and you do that with your spirit,
Same thing with your
and you do
thoughts,
that with
same thing with your
everything.
ideas,
Because
same
the
thing with your
feminine
creations.
energy, and again, has nothing to do with gender. It's the pull, it's the receiving energy, it's gravity, it's the natural. It's natural, and it doesn't require anything, and you just let it fall to you. Then once you have it, whatever that is, then you use the masculine energy to do something with it.
100%.
That's the proper distribution
100%.
of the giving and the taking.
100%. You're finding a balance and a purpose.
Yeah.
Which is what life is about.
Fuck yeah. Well, dude,
100%.
I think that's a good place to wrap it
Yeah,
up. We got to
man.
do this again.
For
This
sure.
is fun. We got to keep doing these.
So
we got to
again,
bang these
man,
up.
project our hearts. You know what I'm saying?
You got any? You guys got any parting words for us at all? I know Banks. I know you just dropped an album.
I just dropped an album, The Lovers, my third album. It's like a love song. It's like a love album between my masculine and feminine self within me. It's like about the light,
great creation.
the light and the dark, the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
And it's the Gemini card in tarot, and I'm a Gemini, and I dropped it during Gemini season.
Perfect.
So definitely go check that out. It's streaming everywhere. 15 more extra songs for y'all to check out. And I'm also offering one-on-one mystic guidance, as you guys know. I'm offering sessions, and I'm also offering monthly guidance and mentorship. So check me out on my Instagram or TikTok. The links will be down below.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, we're definitely gonna do this again, dude.
For sure.
yeah.
So
No,
think
I
it's gonna be a
got more to unpack
reoccurring
for
one.
you. So
Yeah.
next
I
time
was
we'll
gonna
get a
say
little
thanks
more
for
into
joining us, but we joined you.
Yeah, I know.
So thanks for
Thank you
having
guys
us.
for coming over.
Love you, dog.
I love you, man.
Yeah,
I love
man.
just like we always say, bro, like just having somebody that you can just bounce these ideas off of to elevate you.
Means everything.
It's just being open with each
Means
other. We take away what we take away. We
everything.
leave whatever we want to leave. You know what I'm
Means
saying?
everything,
It's
man.
pure
I
love,
love you,
dog.
brother.
Oh,
Love you,
dude.
bro.
dude. And with that being said, if anybody has like something that you like a question that you have first that you want us to
always.
talk about or work through, it doesn't even have to be like specific.
Yeah.
If you want us to keep it anonymous or whatever, hit us up on social.
Drop a comment.
Yeah, drop a
Yeah.
comment. Let us know. Well, we got you.
Always.
Love y'all. OptiMystic Banks podcast, OptiMystic podcast featuring OptiMystic Banks and his boys. We love y'all. Be good. Real recognize real. Peace, God.
Yeah. I love it.
Thank you, dog.
Thank you.
Thank you. Perfect.
Perfect.
That shit's easy.
One day you'll find out that the